and welcome to
King Edward's Radio.
You're listening to Faith Plummer
And Alex Dexter Mills. This week's episode on King Edward's Radio is jam-packed full of stuff. We're going to start with an interview I had with Tim Page from the Bury Society last week. And we've also got a special in the episode. Now, it's not actually within this episode. We are having to create another episode. More on that later. But first, this is the interview I had with Tim Page from the Bury Society. You join me with Tim Page, who's from the Bury Society. Welcome.
Hi.
Could you explain what the Bury Society does in Bury?
Yeah, the Bury Society is essentially a civic society for the town, so we're interested in making sure that the town stays and becomes the very special place that it is today. We're a registered charity, and we get in all sorts of little projects here and there. Bury's a very special town in the sense that both the local authority, the businesses and the residents in the town get stuck in to get stuff done in a way that often until you go outside Bury you don't realise that it's not normal. A lot of other places people will go, well, I'm not going to do that because that's the council's responsibility, and then nothing gets done. So in Bury we tend to get stuck in, and we're part of that.
How many people are part of the Bury Society?
We have a membership of about 600 people, paid up members, and of that we've got a core group of volunteers of about 20 and a central committee of about 12 who are the charity trustees.
How can people get involved within the Bury Society?
Well, you need to be 18 in order to be a member.
Okay.
So I suspect for most listeners of this radio the answer would be to nag their parents to become members. It's not that expensive, it's about 20 quid a year, isn't it? It's really not that. But then you can get involved in volunteering around the various things that we get involved in. So we're not going to be, unless there's something that's responsible, we're not going to be too bothered about how old someone is if they want to come and help us volunteer and around the town.
Does the Bury Society support arts facilities like the Theatre Royal?
Ish. The sort of things that we're mostly involved in, the things that you would notice us about is Bury in Bloom is part of the Bury Society. We were very heavily involved in the Magna Carta celebrations last year and this year, which today is the 800th anniversary. And so we sort of, where we can, help things like the Theatre Royal, but the Theatre Royal has its own charitable trust as well, and they're doing, well-ish, they're doing okay, but where we can, we help.
Can we see any influences or decisions made by the Bury Society within Bury?
Yes, you can. The fact that St John's Street is here still, with all the shops like Sunrise and all the lovely independent retailers, is directly a result of the Bury Society being formed in 1971, because back in 1971 there was a plan to bulldoze all the way through from St John Street through to Short Brackland Street, where the Cornhill Walk is now, through to Wells Street, and build a sort of concrete monstrosities type shopping centre, a bit like they used to have in Thetford and they've still got in Harlow. It would have been quite awful. And so the Bury Society was started to save the St John Street and the surrounding areas.
The recent controversial installation of the trees in the Ark has gone down with mixed views. What has the Bury Society had any influence in this decision?
We would have preferred there to have been real trees. We're a big fan. In fact, we're quite responsible for quite a lot of the trees that have been planted around town. That's a thing that we get involved in. One of the latest ones we had was there's a lovely plane tree in Cannon Square. P. Porridge Green is one of us. So we would have preferred real trees, but the fact that they're actually spending money on what was not a particularly nice street in town can only be good, really.
What is the connection with the Berry and Bloom and the Berry Society? How do you work together?
Right, Berry and Bloom is a subcommittee, so it means it's actually part of the Berry Society. But it's bigger than that. It's the biggest part of the Berry Society by a long way. So the actual Berry and Bloom is the Berry Society plus help from the council and help from the businesses in town and all sorts of the people that just get stuck in and we've got a wonderful coordinator, Melanie Nessa, who just does the most amazing things for us.
How is the society funded? Is it lottery funds, councils, government, or sponsorships?
The society is primarily from membership subs, forms a small part of our income. We have received bequests over the years, so we do have a couple of pots of money from which we make grants. But most of the income comes from, most of our turnover is associated with things like Magna Carta and Berry and Bloom, and so most of the funding from that came from sponsorship from businesses, and with the Magna Carta there was a big lottery grant as well that helped us with that.
Do you organise any talks or events that anyone can visit?
We do. It's a big part of what we do, and if you want to go on our website, there's which is just Google the Berry Society, we come up. There's all sorts of talks about the town and things like that. Often a lot of the visits that we go on are during the day, during term time, and quite frankly designed for people that are grandparents sort of age, so I wouldn't expect necessarily everybody in Kegs to be interested in a lot of the stuff that we do for quite a few decades yet, but when they are, we're here.
The blue plaques we see around Berry saying things, is that something that the Berry Society?
That was us.
So thank you for coming in today talking to us. This is the Berry Society. You can see them around Berry, particularly with those blue plaques you see on the buildings.
Thanks everyone very much indeed. Cheers.
There we go. That was my interview there with Tim Page from the Berry Society. Now, a little bit more on this special episode. Me and one of my colleagues, Anna, were lucky enough to get media passes, granting us full access behind the scenes at the women's tour, which took place on Berry on Wednesday of last week. So we got full media passes, which allowed us to speak to basically any of the riders we required to. We got ourselves into a very lucky spot, so once the team had done their presentation and they'd signed in, they then had to walk down, and we were first there, and we managed to grab a couple of all the big people. So you can catch what we're going to call the full story as such on our episode, which will be releasing sometime this week, maybe. I think the aim is for it to be out by Thursday afternoon. So there will be 2 episodes this week. So catch up with that. It was quite an exciting day. Catch the full story. Managed to talk to some people like Laura Trott, who is one of the big women riders in that race. We'll also tell you a bit more about the stage, what happened, and of course we'll be able to tell you who has won, because they announced that on Saturday. So tune in then, and we'll give you welcome. Faith, I believe we're going to begin with the Kermers King Edward's Radio Music Awards categories, the next 5.
Can you say that? What does Kermers stand for again? But
King Edward's Radio...
slower and normal voice.
King
Yeah.
Edward's
Yeah.
Radio
Yeah.
Music Awards
Thank you.
2015.
Lovely
2015 is the key bit, remember.
Okay.
Without that, it'd just be Music
Moving
Awards.
on.
Okay, so here we go. Category 6 is Artist. The nominations go...
Start again. No. I mean, I'll start again. Nominations are Ed Sheeran, Sing. Well, okay. Jessie J, Domino. Katy Perry with Firework. Hosier and Take Me to Church. Or Ellie Goulding, Love Me Like You Do.
And category 7 is Song, and the nominations go...
Mr. Brightside by The Killers. Rather Be by Clean Bandit. Take Me to Church Again by Hosier. And Sugar by Maroon 5.
Category 8 is Album. What are those albums, Faith?
Those albums are X by Ed Sheeran. 1989 by Taylor Swift. Wilder Mind by Mumford & Sons. And V by Maroon 5.
The next part of the recording, unfortunately, has been corrupted. And Faith has had to depart with us. So I am going to announce the last 2 categories. The 9th category is musician, and the people nominated are Rebecca Bliss, Sarah Rayford, Joe Bailey, Harry Thorpe, and Anna Ellis. The last category we're going to be announcing in today's episode is category number 10, which is music video. The nominations are Thinking Out Loud, Ed Sheeran, Around the World, Daft Punk, Gangnam Style, PSY, Here It Goes Again, OK Go, Thriller, Michael Jackson. Head over to our website, which is kingedsradio.wix.com/kingedsradio. If you go onto our page at the top, which says Kermers, you'll be able to go on to round 2, part 2, and vote. Cast your vote. You can also cast your vote for part 1 and part 2. Part 3 will be up Thursday this week, and we'll also, in the special episode, say those last 4 nominations. So, get voting. There's not long left before we close the votes. So, hurry up. Okay, we got the charts again, Face, chosen by you this week.
Yep.
Number 5 is...
Close to Me by The Cure.
Number 4.
It's You by Duck Sauce.
You have to watch the music video for that. It's good music
It's
video,
a bit
isn't it?
insane.
It's a beast. Number 3.
Taro by Alt J.
Number 2.
Can't Stop by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
And at number 1 this week, drum roll!
Feel by Bombay Bicycle Club.
There we go, that's a chart. Email us at...
dibbidibidib.co.uk /
No,
rum
email.
cake.
It's kingedsradio@gmail.com. Email
I
us
really
your
need to learn that.
suggestions for the new next week's chart. So, that's it from King Edward's Radio from this episode. Join us on Thursday when we will have our special episode on the Women's Tour. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next time.